母親に似て心の優しい君なのに。だが今日で最後だ。もう。
チャンネル登録していい。
Car D Kaizoku.
This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. This video is sponsored by Sleeve Chief. There's a major restock coming for a lot of their popular sleeves, and they're going to be releasing a new Enel, Dawn sleeve, and Hollow sleeve as well. Use code CARDKaizoku for 5% off your order. Alright, we're going to be doing another curve analysis for another OP09 leader. This time it's Blackbeard, Marshall D. Teach. So what this curve analysis video is just speculations on how a typical curve for this leader might go about. We did one for Shanks now, and then one for Purple Black Luffy. So if you want to check those out, I have a link in the description, or you can just scroll through my recent videos. It should still be near the top. So yeah, we're just going to go through the odds and even curves. In which case, I think for Teach, it's the same either way. But yeah, we're just going to be simulating what it would be like to play this leader before the set actually releases. And I want to preface this by saying not all the cards in OP09 have been revealed yet, right? This is cards revealed as of July 31st, 2024. That's when I'm recording this. So there could be more Blackbeard cards released, but to be honest, out of all the leaders so far, this one seems to be the one that depends the least on like the tribal nature of the Blackbeard Pirates cards, right? I think what is available now actually works really well with this deck. He might even be playable already without the rest of the Blackbeard Pirates being revealed. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's take a look. So first, let's look at what the leader card does, right? That's important for the deck. Marshall D. Teach is a mono black leader with 5000 power and 5 starting life. His leader ability reads, your on-play abilities don't activate. That's right, you don't have access to this mechanic at all. So you do have to play this deck really differently because black does contain a lot of strong on-play effects. And then activate main, you may trash one card from your hand. If you do this until the end of your opponent's next turn, your opponent's on-play abilities don't activate. So monkey see, monkey do, happened to me, happened to you, you know? But you do have to discard a card, so it's not free. But yeah, just outright denying on-plays, which is arguably the strongest mechanic in the game, is incredibly like format warping, game warping, right? A lot of decks have to play differently. Some decks just outright get like nullified from the meta, especially Enel, mono yellow Enel. Like his deck cannot function at all thanks to Blackbeard. So would love to see how this shakes up the meta. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of ramifications to this guy entering the scene. But yeah, let's take a look at the curve then, yeah? So let's try going second. I think going second is what you want to do because the big boss monster in your deck is 10 cost. So 2 Dawn, right? Then we draw a card. I'm going to show how many cards we have in hand, so it like gives us a better sense of how many cards we have to discard for a leader ability. So before we start playing any characters, let's go over when to use the leader ability. I think this is really matchup dependent. It really depends which deck you're facing against. I think against slow decks like Enel or Katakuri or Bonnie or even Lucci, those kind of decks, you're probably not going to use your leader ability until 8 Dawn when your opponent can play their 8 drops. Even 7 drops, right? Bonnie runs Hody. So against those kind of decks, you'll have a big hand size for pretty much the entire game. Against Red Purple Law, I'm pretty sure there are some key turns where you do want to use your leader ability, right? If you use it on their 4 Dawn turn or their 5 Dawn turn, you deny them a lot of like ramp from their on play. So potentially against Red Purple Law, you're going to need to expend a lot of cards to both use your leader ability and also defend your life against them. But with that out of the way, let's do 2 Dawn play. Well, we do have a searcher in the deck, Lafitte. So what Lafitte does is it's like a Bonnie and Baby 5 searcher for the Supernova and Don Quixote archetypes. For 1 Dawn, you play him out, and then if you activate main, you can tap him and one of your available Dawn. And that lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You can reveal up to 1 Blackbeard Pirates type card and add it to your hand, and then place the rest on the bottom. So that's your 2 Dawn turn. You'll find another card in hand, so we'll just put it at random into our hand here. So at this point, we have 7 cards in hand. We can't attack yet, so it passes to your opponent. It's their 3 Dawn turn. They maybe play something, and then it passes back to you. Oh, yeah, they would attack you at this point, right? So I guess you could take. So you're at 8 cards in hand. I'm running out of space to show all my hands. Hold on. Okay, so we go up to 4. So 4 Dawn turn, I think we want to play something like Laboon, right? What Laboon does is activate main, you may rest this character, give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 cost for the turn. And yeah, this is the only way we get access to minus cost in this kind of deck because we don't run on-play abilities. So we'll play out Laboon and then hope he lives. So I guess against decks like Lucci and any other like removal black deck, at this point you could use your leader ability to ditch a card to protect your Laboon for next turn. It will prevent any of your opponent's on-play effects to KO Laboon, potentially. He isn't safe against Repropal Law though, right? Gordon and then leader ability is not an on-play ability, so that gets rid of Laboon. So yeah, again, matchup dependent. But let's say we're playing against another black deck here, so we'll chuck a card to deny on-plays for a turn. Then we'll swing with our leader for 5, and then we'll pass. So it's your opponent's 5 Dawn turn. They cannot kill your Laboon, so they'll do something with 5 Dawn. Maybe they play a 4-drop and then attack you with their character, and then their leader for 6 or something. And then we could like counter, just to put some cards in our discard here. I probably just counter once, and then we'll take a life. Right, that seems more realistic at this point in the game. So we're still at 7 cards. It passes back to us, we'll draw a card. And then we're at our 6th Dawn turn now. So 6th Dawn turn can be a little flexible. I don't think there's anything that really fills out the 6th Dawn curve at the moment. So it could be like a future card that comes out. But yeah, there is Van Augur. So he's a 5 cost 6k power character with 1k counter. What he does is activate main, you may rest his character. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirate's type, give it to one of your opponent's characters -3 cost for the turn. And then on KO, you draw a card. So if Van Augur dies, you draw, that's fine. But he's kind of like a worse Laboon, because Laboon is 4 cost for -4 cost, and then Van Augur is 5 cost for -3 cost only. But I guess the when KO, on KO is valuable on the card, I guess, to warrant that extra price to pay on top of Laboon. Then you'll have a Dawn up. I guess at this point, you could just swing leader 6, and then I guess with Van Augur, it depends on what you plan to kill next turn, but if they have stuff on board that you just need 3 costs to kill, I guess you could use Laboon to attack too. Attack into a character, attack into a character. And yeah, at this point, you probably still want to save your cost reducer, so you'll use your leader ability again, depending on the matchup again. And then we'll pass to your opponent. It's their 7 Dawn turn now. So here's where we'll have an example of what they play. So let's say they had a 7-drop, so they played like a 7 cost Linden here. Where should I put this? Here. Just pretend this is your opponent's board. They'll do that, then they'll attack you. I guess you could counter at this, or they'll attack Laboon, right? You counter him to save him. Maybe they attack him twice somehow. So we're down to 5 cards in hand, and then Linden's effect, I guess you'll heal them a life. Turn passes back to you. We're at 8 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. So I think the best thing you could do for 8 or even 7 Dawn is to play Jack, one of the best cards in the game, in the meta right now. Because what he does is he's a 7 cost, 8k power character. And then his ability gives him +4 cost always, so actually he's an 11 cost on board, making it really hard to remove him via cost, right? Other black decks and like green decks will have a hard time resting him too, if it's like effects based on cost. Then his effect is also activate main, you may rest his character. You can draw 1 card and then trash 1 card from your hand, and then after that you can KO up to one of your opponent's 3 cost or lower characters. So it's KO baked into a activate main effect, and it's on a very, very sturdy body, right? 11 cost, again, hard to KO. And then 8k power, very hard to attack into, and then hard for Repropal Law to bottom deck. You need 2 Gordon effects to get rid of him. So more often than not, Jack will like 95% of the time stay on board as your like infinite KO outlet. You just got to keep your Laboons and your Van Augurs alive to give you the minus cost to utilize the Jack. So in this case, if they did play Linlin, 7 cost, so Van Augur would only bring Linlin to -3 cost. This brings Linlin to 4 cost, and Jack cannot KO because he only KOs at 3 cost. So in this situation, actually Laboon would be better. So prioritize keeping Laboon alive. So Laboon, tap him, give -4 cost to Linlin. Tap your Jack, you could draw 1 and then discard 1. Oh, I drew from the discard. Draw 1 and then discard 1 card from hand. Cycle it out to find something more useful. You tap the Jack, Linlin dies. And then you can swing with Van Augur and then swing with your leader. And yeah, we've used our leader ability for the past 2 turns. We still have 5 cards in hand. So this price of discarding a card for your leader ability doesn't seem too steep at all, based on my like simulation of the events. So yeah, this clears the board. Van Augur attacks, leader attacks for 6 because we do have 1 more Dawn left over. Oh, actually, let's use Lafitte to search. Give us a card in hand, and then we'll do 5-6. Right, that's better. So yeah, turn passes. It's their 9 Dawn turn. And then it's very unlikely they'll be able to kill Jack, because yeah, 11 cost and 8k power. If they do like commit 5 Dawn to leader to attack 10 into him, that's like 5 Dawn they can't develop anything with, right? They'll play like a 4-drop with that. After that, it was sort of a really weak play against you. So more than likely, they're not going to try to attack into Jack. They'll just develop their own board and hope that it is high enough that your Jack cannot reach it. And then they'll throw some attacks at you. Let's say we'll just counter and then we'll take 1. Oh, my deck is gone. Okay, let's just pretend our discard is our deck for now, because I don't have enough of these in my layers to represent the deck anymore. Let's put 1 back just so it looks nice. All right, at this point, it passes to our 10 Dawn turn, and I hope I have 10 Dawn. Yes, I do. Okay, so we're maxed out on Dawn here. Now we're going to play the big baddie of our deck. It's 10 cost Martial D Teach. So yeah, he is 10 cost, 12k power. He's probably what you're gonna play on 10 Dawn. Like always, I don't think there's really much of a choice. There's nothing better than him, I think. Cause yeah, he's a blocker. So even if you're like almost gonna die, you're playing a blocker too. So it saves you. And then on top of that, he has an activate main as well. Once per turn, if your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, and if this character was played this turn, up to one of your opponent's leader's effects are negated for the rest of the turn. And then after this, up to one of your opponent's character effects are negated until the end of your opponent's next turn. That character also cannot attack. So there's some nuance there to take note of. The leader effect negation is only on your turn. So it's the turn that we play him, right? Because you can only activate it on the turn that you play him too. So you can't use it next turn. So for this turn at least, you can nullify your opponent's leader ability. This is not relevant to every leader, because not every leader has leader effects that interact with you on your turn. But notable ones are Enel, right? Enel gets that one layer of super armor, but this Blackbeard card negates it. So if you attack them when they're at 1 life, they don't heal. Likewise with Bonnie, if Bonnie left a Dawn up and you attack, they can't rest a Dawn to rest one of your characters, right? That's negated. So stuff like that, this Blackbeard is especially devastating against, but irrespective of that, he's still a 10 cost 12k blocker. And then he also stuns a character on board. They can't attack. It's like that 6 cost Boa card. And on top of that, it also negates the character's effects. So if they had blocker, they cannot block until your opponent's next turn. If they had an on KO like Kikunojo, they don't heal. If they had a on opponent's attack effect, that also does not activate. So yeah, very thematic to what Blackbeard does in the show. Oh, spoilers. So that will be your 10 Dawn play. I guess at this point too, if you're worried about their on plays, you could also discard a card from hand to activate your leader ability. So not only can your opponent not do on plays, their leader ability cannot activate, and then one of their characters is just completely gone from the field. In spirit, it's still technically physically there, but yeah, a lot of board control negation shenanigans going around here. And then at this point, if your Laboon and your Van Augur lived, it's -4, and then -3, that's -7 in total. You can KO at 10 costs with your Jack this way, right? 10 -4 -3 is 3. But that's, yeah, if you could get these two to survive. But yeah, that seems to be the curve I envision for Blackbeard. Now, you're not going to get all these cards all the time in this order. So some cards to help fill in the gaps. I think Borsalino would be good on your Fordon play if you don't get Laboon or Van Augur. We don't have access to Sabo, so this is our only like unable to be KO'd blocker that we can run. It'll help save our ass in the late game too. And then I also think Mansherry is a very good card for this deck. At any time where you have like 2 Dawn to spare, play Mansherry and then you could activate her effect. So activate main, pay 1 Dawn. You can return 2 cards from your discard to your deck, and then you can draw a 3 to 5 cost black character from your discard back to your hand. This helps you when you're like discarding cards with your leader ability, right? You discard the Laboon, you need it next turn, you play Mansherry for 2, bring it back. You can play him out again or just have a card to discard for your leader ability always. And if you have bigger threats like Laboon and Van Augur on board, they might even just leave Mansherry alone, even though it's an easy swing into it. Just make sure they don't have like searchers on board for them to like easily swing into Mansherry. If they have like their leader and like a big character, they're most likely gonna target like your Laboon and stuff instead. So there are a lot of instances where Mansherry is like actually the least priority target on the board, even though she's giving you a lot of value. What else is there? I think the 9 cost Kaido is really good too, right? He's 9 cost and 9k power, and then what he does is activate main once per turn. If it's the turn that you play him, hold on, I gotta bring him up because I forgot the complete text. You may discard 1 card from your hand. If this character was played this turn, place up to one of your opponent's 7 cost or lower characters in the trash. Then your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. So it is a little expensive because it does require a discard from your hand, but it's activate main, so it's not an on play. You can only use it on the turn you play him though. But yeah, he kills a 7 cost. Even better than that, he trashes it, right? This gets around cards like Borsalino who are immune to KO. This directly trashes them into the discard. And then if you have access to Laboon or Van Augur lets them kill a 10 cost. Laboon lets them kill an 11 cost, if there are such things. Oh yeah, this Jack is an 11 cost. So I guess in the mirror, Laboon and Kaido kills your opponent's Jack. And they also have to discard a card from hand too. So I think that's pretty strong play. And then there has to be some Blackbeard 2k counter that they're going to print. There isn't one as of July 31st, but I can't imagine they wouldn't print one. We just have to see what it is. We'll have to hope it gives like minus cost too as an activate main effect. But if they don't, we're completely fine with that because we got stuff like Tashigi from Starter Deck 6. She gives -2 cost as an activate main. We've got One-Legged Soldier from, what's it, from EB01, I think? No, he's from OP05. So activate main, you can trash him and then you can give -3 cost to something. And then there's also Sasaki from OP08. He's a 1-cost option. What Sasaki can do is, what he does is activate main, you can rest a Dawn and then the character itself, and you can give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost for the turn. In all circumstances, like Tsudu is the better card, but since we can't run on plays, like Sasaki is our next best option. Then yeah, since we don't get to run a lot of the good on play KO effects like Lucci or Kaku or stuff like that, I think Shigan is a card that makes a lot of sense in a Blackbeard deck, right? What it does is for 4 Dawn on main, you can trash 2 cards from the top of your deck and you can KO a 5 cost. Paired with the Boon, you can KO a 9 cost. Paired with Van Augur, you can KO an 8 cost. And it fills your discard too, so you could find stuff with your man cherries. And yeah, you can't play 8 cost Gecko Moria in this deck because he's an on-play card. So very interesting playing a black deck that doesn't run Gecko Moria, or rather you're forced to. So you kind of actually have to think in this deck. And then before we close out the video, let's take a look at the odd curve. Maybe we'll like notice some differences in the odd versus even curve. I just assumed it might be the same, but let's look at it to verify. So I'm gonna reset the board real quick. Editor, cut this part out. Oh, I also noticed I probably stopped keeping track of like cards I draw and cards from the life into my hand. But irrespective of that, I do think as a ballpark estimation, we did have a lot of cards in our hand, more than we thought we would, even though we have to discard a card for our leader ability. Okay, so going first, 1 Dawn. I guess we could play Lafitte and then not search and hope he lives. Usually he will, right? Your opponent can't really respond with 2 Dawn. So your opponent's 2 Dawn turn passes back to you. We go to 3. We don't really have a 3-drop, so I guess we Lafitte, and then maybe, I don't know, if we have a second Lafitte, we could search with that. 2 Lafitted, and then we'll attack with our leader for 5. And then it's your opponent's 4 Dawn turn. They'll do their 4 Dawn thing. We'll pass back to us. 5 Dawn. These 2 are probably gonna die. For sure. So 5 Dawn play. I guess it's like Van Augur or Laboon or Borsa, right? Let's pick Van Augur, since he has the biggest stat line, 6k. They will attack with the leader for 5, your opponent's 6 Dawn turn. So they play like the 6-drop, most likely. Like let's say they played Kalgara Vanilla, 6-drop, passes back to you, we go to 7. In this case, we could play Jack here, right? And then Van Augur gives -3 to Kalgara. It's their 6 Dawn turn, so this is the biggest thing they could have played. So Jack, tap Jack, KOs Kalgara, or their 6-drop. That actually feels pretty good, right? In our even scenario, we needed the Laboon with Jack to kill their 7-drop. But in this scenario, the biggest thing they could have played was a 6-drop, so Laboon or Van Augur can handle that. So there's some merit to going first, forcing them to be able to be handled by just Van Augur, or whether you have Van Augur or Laboon, a little bit of flexibility there. So yeah, their board dies and then passes to your opponent. It's their 8 Dawn turn. Oh, you probably want to use your leader ability here, right? 8 Dawn is scary, so they can't do any 8 Dawn shenanigans. Passes back to you, so it's your 9 Dawn turn. And yeah, we have Kaido for this turn. So Kaido plus Van Augur lets you KO a 10 cost, so that's anything they play, really. So yeah, that actually feels pretty good, and then passes to their 10, and then passes back to your 10. That's when you start playing your teaches. Okay, so yeah, going odd actually might be better. It felt better? Hold on, I have to think about this. Yeah, the only awkward thing going first is we had nothing to do on our 3 Dawn turn. So I guess we could have just swung with our leader for 7 if we found nothing, along with searching with Van Augur. But when we went even, we had nothing to do on our 6 Dawn turn, right? Because what we did was play like Laboon into Van Augur, right? 4 Dawn turn, 6 Dawn turn. That feels kind of awkward too. So he either needs something in the 3 Dawn slot or the 6 Dawn slot to kind of solidify which curve is better. Because there are weaknesses in both, now that I look at it side by side. But I guess that's stuff that like Mancherry can fill in for the turn with your like Dawn that you're not going to use for like a big play, or like Borsa, setting up Borsas, right? If we went even, we could have done Laboon and then Borsa instead, and then had 2 Dawn to swing with our leader. On our 3 Dawn turn, we're probably not going to play Mancherry. But yeah, it's all situational too at the end of the day, right? If they developed like a 4-cost kid, we would want to Shigan it earlier. Because yeah, if we went second, right? Hold on, let me just go through this scenario in my mind. Let me make sure it makes sense, and you guys can help me verify. So 6 Dawn, it was their 5 Dawn. They would have played like a 5-cost kid. If you just dropped like a Van Augur, that's not going to handle it. That's not what you want to see. So it would completely make sense to Shigan here, because we can't play our Jack yet either. We're at 6 Dawn. Yeah, I like that. So we Shigan, and then Higan after we Shigan. Then we'll attack with our leader for 7, and then the leader ability to keep Laboon alive. Maybe we don't swing with them, so you can't be attacked into. And then we get to our 8 Dawn turn, we play Jack. Bada bing, bada boom, do the same thing we did last time. Okay, so going even, I do think Shigan is important for that 6 Dawn turn. Going odds, we can do Van Augur or Laboon into Jack. And honestly, in the late game, you're probably going to be chaining teaches back to back. I think that's a very devastating thing to do, right? Can't really handle this. You're always negating something, you're always negating your opponent's leader ability, you have a blocker set up too, right? If they did attack into you the next turn, you just block with it, and then it's hard for them to attack over 12k, and then he becomes a 12k attacker the turn after. If you play another one, it just covers his ass, covers his ass, covers his ass, covers your ass. So Blackbeard seems kinda strong, don't it? There might be some consistency issues, because yeah, we're running the Blackbeard Searcher, but in the deck, we're only running like what? Van Augur and Teach as our Blackbeard cards, and then whatever Blackbeard 2k counter that they're gonna print. Are the other Blackbeard cards worth running? Well, there's Jesus Burgess, who is 4 cost 5k power character. This character cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, this character gets plus 1000 power for every 4 cards in your trash. I mean, being unable to be KO'd is nice, but wouldn't you want to run Borsalino instead? Because he's a blocker. It's not like we need a big attacker for a 4-don play, so I think Borsa is always better. Because once Jesus gets to like a stat line that is threatening, aren't we already playing cards like Jack and the 10 cost Teach who can attack over him anyway? So yeah, I don't really like Jesus Burgess. Jesus. What else is there? There's like a 2-drop, right? Yeah, Doc Q. Doc Q is a 2 cost, 1k counter, 0k power. Activate main, you may rest this character. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, KO to one of your opponent's 1 cost or lower characters, and then on KO draw a card. So he's like a really shitty Jack that you could play a lot earlier. I guess he's somebody that you can play on your 2-don turn, or your 3-don turn too, right? Set it up for a KO later. Actually, I kind of like that. So let's bring him into the to the sheet here. You're gonna see me do it in real time. Right, so Doc Q is something you could play on your 2 or your 3-don turn and set up for like a later turn. Let me get rid of all these Blackbeards. Let me explain my thought process. Maybe you guys can help me to see if I'm delusional or not. All right, 2-don turn, play Doc Q. Passes to your opponent's, what is it, their 5-don turn? No, 3-don turn. So they play a 3-drop, passes back to you, you go to 4. Yeah, I guess at this point you could play Laboon. Tap Laboon, give -4 cost to the 3-drop, tap Doc Q, kill it, and then leader 5. Okay, yeah. This fills out the early curve. So if you made it to this part of the video, I like Doc Q. I think I'm going to include him in the curve too. There's also Vasco Shot, which is just a 2 cost blocker. I'd rather run the Doc Q in that case, because either Vasco Shot eats up the removal or Doc Q eats up the removal at 2 costs, so same either way. There's also like the Kid Teach, 3 cost 4k power, activate main, you may rest this character. If your hand has 3 or fewer cards in your opponent's hand, draw 2 cards and discard 1 card. So it's like insanely conditional draw, and he's not even attacking body, and you have to rest him too, so he just dies after to draw you 1 card. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be too like big impact. And then there's that event, Black Spiral, 2 costs on counter, nullify the effect of up to one of your opponent's leader or character, and then give them -4000 power during this turn. Guess that's runnable. But the curve I showed on screen, there was like never any like active Dawn you could leave up, especially when you get to doing your back-to-back 10 cost Teaches, right? You're not gonna have 2 Dawn up to play Black Spiral. But it's not bad. It's not plus 4k counter, it's -4k, so that persists. If it's a character that can untap and attack again, they'll keep that -4k. And yet nullifying the effect on counter doesn't seem as useful, right? Getting rid of a blocker when they're attacking doesn't really do anything. If they got buffed by some effect, that buff stays. It's not part of the card effect, so that doesn't go away. And if it's a when attacking, that when attacking already triggered before you countered. So yeah, actually, I don't know. I don't like the counter event, because all this nullification only lasts this turn too. So once your opponent passes the turn, all those effects come back. Okay, now I've gone through every revealed black card for Blackbeard in OP09 so far. I think this is my final thoughts. As of, again, July 31st, if they reveal a really strong Blackbeard card tomorrow, I guess you guys will all let me know in the comments. Something similar happened with the Black Purple Luffy video, where I said like, they're not going to release like another Straw Hat Searcher in purple for 1 cost. And then they actually did. The very next day, they revealed that law that finds a Heart Pirates or a Straw Hat card. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm good at manifesting these things. They'll reveal a really strong Blackbeard card tomorrow. That's my prediction anyway, since I'm making this video. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope this piques your interest in trying out Blackbeard. He's way different than any other black deck out so far. I really do think he's gonna like shift the paradigms of the meta. I'm using big words to sound smart, but yeah, he's basically just gonna change how everyone plays. Some decks are just gonna be auto lose matchups to this guy. Some will be like, is there an auto win into Blackbeard? We'll have to see how he handles aggro, right? Maybe he like just dies to Zuro But he negates Zoro, right? He negates the choppers who search for other choppers. I don't know. We'll have to see when that matchup comes out and we can see like actual gameplay. This is just a theory crafting video. I hope it was interesting at least. And yeah, I'll be sure to try out Blackbeard once he's available on the sim. Oh yeah, you guys should support Batsu if you're not already. He's the guy who makes the sim, the software that I've used to play on in my videos. He does it all for free. Really great guy, really nice guy. I've spoken to him a few times now. Always a pleasure interacting with him. So I thought I'd shout him out. He's like the only guy I shout out for free, by the way. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you're not already subscribed, and if this video convinced you to like my personality or the type of videos I make, give me a subscribe, yeah? That's all I ask for. Okay, bye. Say ha 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 ha.
Car D Kaizoku.